Call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Commissioner Corbin,
Here.
Commissioner Digital,
Here.
Commissioner Wire,
Here.
Commissioner Shaw,
Here.
Mayor Lindsay.
Here. You have before you the agenda for this evening.
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, under appearances and acknowledgements, and that, we have Mark Yunker, and I had the other name here and that a minute ago, but if you gentlemen wouldn't mind coming up, introducing yourselves, and we will go ahead and hear what you had to find out about the bridges in town.
Good.
My name is Matt Binger. I work with Banner Associates. Thank you for giving us this time to present to you. Tonight, we're going to give you an overview of our findings for the 2023 City of Madison Bridge inspections.
Okay,
My name is Matt Binger. I've been working for Banner Associates for 4 years, primarily working on bridges, including bridge design, bridge inspections, and bridge construction and observation. This year I was responsible for the field work on the bridge inspections, and Mark has a few more years of experience than I do, and he was a good mentor and provided guidance throughout the process. In this presentation, we'll give you an overview of the City of Madison's bridge systems and kind of go through some of our recommendations from our findings. And we met with Ryan earlier today to discuss more of the details.
The bridge inspection program, it is a federal requirement. Bridges need to be inspected at least once every 2 years. There are some deviations to that. For example, City of Madison has lots of box culverts that are in good condition, so we can stretch that inspection cycle out to every 4 years on a lot of your box culverts. And the DOT does pick up 80% of the inspection costs, and the City of Madison pays 20%. And a bridge is on the federal inspection list if it's a opening of 20 foot or longer. Anything smaller is the responsibility of the local government. And we're out inspecting bridges for public safety. And to put a plug in for our profession, you know, we have an ethical responsibility to the public above and beyond Banner and above and beyond the client we're working for. Excellent.
There are 17 bridges on the City of Madison's bridge system. This year we inspected 14 of the 17 on that system. The bridge inspection program rates bridges based on their overall condition into 3 categories of good, fair, and poor. You can see that 12 out of the 17 are in the good condition, and that's the majority of the structure. Currently, there's no weight limit restrictions. And within the last 30 years, 12 of those 17 have been replaced.
So this shows a map of those 17 structures, and it's color coded where the green bridges in green are in good condition. The bridges in blue are in fair condition, and no bridges in poor condition. Those would be in red. So this is out of the maps I put together. This is the only client I work with that doesn't have any red on their map. So you guys are sitting pretty good.
In this next section of the presentation, we're going to discuss some of our recommendations following the inspections, including fence repairs, grouting around the storm sewer pipes, embankment erosion, roadway settlement, and bridge preventative maintenance. Again, with our meeting with Ryan earlier, we laid out some of the priorities in those recommendations.
I noticed in that picture and that I thought, if that's a fence, that's a pretty good tall fence.
Yeah, that is the Garfield Avenue structure that was built 3 years ago when they were driving pile.
Yeah,
On this slide, since our last inspections, a few structures have received new railings. Here are a few pictures of those. These railings are an upgrade and they look nice and are a good improvement from what was originally there. So good job, and yeah, they look good. Our first recommendation is regarding fence repair. We recommend installing chain link fence on a few structures with the railings where the spacing between the railings is more than 6 inches. It's an AASHTO requirement where that 6 inches is coming from. So installing chain link fence would meet that requirement. Another repair the chain link fence on a few structures. You can see in the middle there, the fence is away from the railing, and on the bottom right, the fence is no longer attached at the top. And there are also a few structures where the railing posts are missing anchor bolts and have some spalled off concrete below. And we just recommend repairing those.
now on the one picture that you've got right there, that appears like it's going into pour concrete. How do you really recommend, just drilling down further and putting an anchor in, or what are the thoughts on that?
You probably wanna fix your concrete first, either with like a epoxy or grout repair, and then you could drill into that and then put your anchor in that way. Or a combination of drilling in first and then patching with grout around, but there's a couple different methods you could use there to make that repair.
Our next recommendation is regarding grouting around the storm sewer pipes that come through some of the structural walls. In these pictures, you can see kind of on the edges of the pipe. And our concern here is during high water events, material can escape through those openings and eventually lead to roadway settlement above. So if grouting around those would help seal up those openings. Another recommendation is regarding embankment erosion. It's a little hard to see in these pictures, but behind that retaining wall, there's significant erosion of the embankment. I also want to mention these specific pictures are from a structure and location on Park Creek this issue is being addressed in a FEMA project that will be coming soon. So, but we just wanted to include the pictures so you could see the condition. Another recommendation is regarding stabilizing roadway settlement. A few of these pictures are the bridge on Fifth Street. You can kind of see the dips right before the bridge starts. There's some undermining below that will again release material and then cause that roadway settlement. That Fifth Street bridge is also part of a FEMA project that will be hopefully be addressing these issues in the future. And on that bottom right, while we were out inspecting, there was fresh asphalt patches on each side, kind of addressing some settlement issues too. And our final recommendation is for preventative maintenance for bridge decks. This maintenance includes applying a saline deck sealer and sweeping and flood washing the decks, and that's to help clean debris off and make sure that water drains properly from the structures and doesn't just sit on top of it.
So now when you say flood washing, is that like bring the fire truck down there and I mean really apply water or Ryan, would that work with our truck, that truck? Would that have enough to,
I don't know if that truck would have enough, that's more or less just a power washer.
Power washer.
Lawn.
It might be sufficient too. I mean, the point of doing that is in the spring to try to wash the excess salt and stuff off the bridge deck. So it's meant to be done in the spring
okay,
and just a sufficient volume of water to try to get as much salt and get it washed off the best you can.
You just flush a hydrant and.
That would work too.
Then we get two things done at the same time.
There you go.
There are a couple of bridges being monitored. The Fifth Street Northwest Bridge, there's some pile routing that we are watching. And the box culvert under Second Street Northeast, there's some concrete deterioration that we are continuing to watch. These pictures are from the bridge on Fifth Street Northwest. This is a bridge that consists of precast deck units on timber piles. The bridge is 51 years old and it was rehabbed 18 years ago. It is in fair condition. And while we do our inspections, we perform hammer sounding to identify locations of pile rot or areas of rot and estimate the section loss within each pile. So that's kind of what you see on the right-hand side of with some X's and the numbers next to it.
so now is there anything that can be done as a repair with the bridge in place? Or does that require, basically replacing a bridge?
I would recommend that when this gets to a point where it's in poor condition, that it be replaced. It's already been rehabbed once. You guys did pull all the deck units off and put a new timber pile cap on it, did some other repairs. It's to the point now where you could try to put new abutments under it. I've done a couple county projects where we replaced the timber abutments with steel abutments. We found that the cost of doing that work was getting close to a new structure, so it's probably best to start over once this gets to the point that it's in poor condition.
How long till we're there, do you think?
I would say you get a decade or so of life out of this thing yet. And it's really, I mean, it'll receive a load posting eventually when there's enough rot on it to keep heavy trucks off of it, and it could have some life with light traffic on it.
This is on the fifth, on the north side of Memorial Park.
Yes.
Yep.
Look, we don't get a lot of truck traffic on that road.
These next pictures are from the box culvert under Second Street Northeast. This box culvert is 64 years old and in fair condition. You can see that there's some deterioration in the walls with exposed rebar. And I believe there's been some concrete or grout patchwork done, but we're keeping an eye on the deterioration and exposed rebar. This is a copy of the bridge maintenance plans, kind of like what we talked about before, as far as like sweep and flood washing the deck every spring. There's the two structures on there that have bridge decks. And then every 3 years, we recommend applying the Silane deck sealer. And that Garfield Avenue Bridge was built 3 years ago, so it would be time for that deck sealer to be applied. And as we start to wrap up, we wanted to point out a few of the good structures on the city system. So these are all structures that are in good condition. And most of the structures on the city system are in good condition.
And yeah, when years down the road, when that bridge on Fifth Street will be the next bridge likely to be in poor condition. And then it will be eligible for funding. So when it does get to that time, there's funding opportunities through the DOT to do a bridge replacement project. So the city doesn't have to foot the entire bill themselves.
Is there any advantage to keeping an eye on the DOT and maybe even apply it sooner than it gets to the critical point?
No, the bridge has to be in poor condition before you can even send in an application.
Okay.
And with the number of poor bridges in South Dakota, only the ones with load posting score high enough to get replacement funds. So there are a lot of poor structures out there.
Very good. Questions, comments?
Just, thank you. I was worried it'd be kind of boring, but it won't.
All right. Thank you.
Well, you know, it's nice to know that, you know, that our town is in pretty good condition, and especially on our bridges, because that's one of the things that you hear elsewhere, you know, is, okay, we're gonna stop, you know, block this road off to the bridge project, so. I'm real happy to see the answers. So, thank you. Anyone else have any questions or comments? None? Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Yep.
Have a great week.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your business.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Anything anyone wants to, the consent calendar?
Motion to approve consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no unfinished business under new business. Approved reading of, first reading of ordinance with number 1661. Amend appendix B, zoning section 1702. And if there's anyone that has any questions on that, Randy is here to answer them. I did attend the planning and zoning meeting and the recommendation of the planning and zoning was to move forward. They had no concerns. And Ryan, do you have anything more you'd like to add to it?
Maybe I'll just mention quick what I'd mentioned to the planning commission at that meeting is staff reviewed the applicant's submittal, taking into account the most comprehensive land use plan. That was adopted in April of 2022. That comprehensive land use plan is for years 2022 through 2040. And the purpose of that is to enhance and encourage responsible development within the city. The future land use map within that comprehensive land use map showed that the area that is being rezoned to the R60 and R90 zones, which are residential, it identified those zones as future residential zones. And it identified the area that is being zoned commercial as a commercial / residential mixed use area. So this falls in line with our comprehensive land use plan, and the planning commission approved it as such.
Questions? Comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 1661 amendments to appendix B zoning section 17.02. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hey, number 2, ratify the submission of Egan Avenue reconstruction project for the state water plan. And again, Ryan, you're there. I'll ask you to go ahead and fill us in on that.
Yeah,
Thanks,
so, last week we had submitted an application for state water plan funding. Well, actually, I shouldn't say it's a funding request. It's really not. It's more of a notice of the project. So we've listed dollar amounts on there. That's a requirement that the NRC is what those dollar amounts are, but this is really not a funding request yet. This is just a notice to get it on the state water plan. I'll follow up with another application in January. So this would be to ratify your signature. There was a tight deadline on this. It had to be submitted and postmarked by October 1st. And so it was either call a special meeting or ratify the signature.
And since this year was not a request, not any funding coming in, but a requirement so that we can apply for funding and that, I did go ahead and sign it as the 27th. So we got it in on time on the 1st.
Good work keeping things moving forward. Thank you.
Thank Brian.
Ryan,
He
thank you.
pointed out it needed to be done by October 1st.
Thank you.
And again, there was nothing in, not an expense to us or, anything like that. So it was something just basically administrative. So with that, I'll ask for your approval.
Make a motion to ratify the submission of Eaton Avenue reconstruction project and state water plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, number 3, and that is also, to keep moving forward on the city administration building. Currently already, and that's, we found that because we changed a little bit of the design and that, we're gonna be 110,000 less than that. And there may be some small change orders that come along. And rather than tie them up for a 2-week period in that, we're asking that, to authorize the city administrator to approve certain change orders on the city administration building construction. So that those decisions can be made easily and quickly, so things keep moving. And with that, we have a dollar amount that we would like to look at, so with that.
Is there a suggestion by staff?
The suggestion is that the administration and the staff and that can give authorization for change orders up to $25,000.
Well, just as long as he remembers, you gain trust by drops and loot it by buckets. Don't screw this up. I'll make a motion to authorize city administrator to approve certain change orders on city administration building construction. Up to $25,000. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Review and discuss 2024 nonprofit funding requests, which are included in your packet. Any questions, comments?
I had 2 that had increases from last year. The volunteer fire department had an increase, and they've also had additional firefighters, so additional training. That was the reason for their increase. The other one is the Lake County Historical Society, and they've increased their programming approximately 33%. And that's the reason for their increase.
No, we had one decrease.
Yeah, you had one decrease of domestic violence, dropped from 15 to 12. So the net increase is 5,000 for last year.
Senior Citizen Center, weren't they doing like upgrades to the building last year? We bumped up their number.
We did, and they have done a great job out there and that, on taking off old siding, putting on new siding, and
They're still doing upgrades now?
there still are.
Yeah, and they
And
had
they've been
mentioned that
getting a
last
lot of
year.
volunteer help and that, to get the job done.
1 week at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, they mentioned last year that it was gonna be something that they phased in over the course of time.
East Dakota Transit, he was having some budgeting issues.
East Dakota Transit and that is having some changes in funding and that from the state and the federal government. One side went down, another side came up, but they're still gonna be running a little short. And then they also have concerns as to whether or not, the county will be able to assist, based on, whatever their budgets are this year, so. They run a pretty lean in that, but it's definitely, the numbers are, now the school started, the numbers are up in terms of ridership and that, so.
It's just, 30,000, that's all we pay for public transit in the municipality. It's pretty.
Well, Yeah, and then, you know, they also have to go out for matching funds.
Oh,
And so there are businesses in that also contribute, you know, to their funds and that to be able to match the federal and state funds that do come in. And I do attend that meeting every month and, you know,
so 30
Either
grand's
financial.
enough, though.
pardon?
30,000's enough?
I wouldn't say that it is in that, but it's what their board requested and on this request in that sense, I am, you know, on there. I abstained from being in the conversation.
Well, I guess if they have any issues, they can certainly come in and we can give them more, maybe.
But it is, you know, you have a lot of people in that don't have their vehicles, you know, and rely on that, you know, to get around town, to get to the doctor's appointments, to get out to the hospital and things like that. And then there are also students in that parents rely on it to get the kids to school.
I'm trying to give them more, Roy, so.
That's, if you wanna, make a motion on
They
that,
only want 30 grand, that's fine.
so. Other discussion.
The Fort Madison for LEIC, what's the term on that? Do we know that?
I don't have that
I
answer in
believe
front of
it's
me.
5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Starting last year, was it?
No, it was going before I started and just, I'll be at
I think
year
this
3,
is
so it's at least
year
3.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Of 4.
But it's the 9th time I've seen it, so
It's an ongoing process.
it never goes away.
All right, any other questions, comments?
And that doesn't
Do we have a
necessarily,
motion?
you don't need any.
You don't need a
on
motion
that.
on this one, all right?
It'll
so
be
we'll
part of
go-
your budget.
We'll leave it at that, and, do we have any public comment? Okay. Okay. Mike, would you, join us up here at the table?
Apologize for the way I look, I had a busted fan belt on a skid steer, so.
So, well, hey, you're a working man, you're being my folks here.
I'm here for a couple of comments on Ninth Street. I'm glad it's getting done. I'm not, belly aching about that. But I think, I don't know I've got an idea because I've been on projects or been in charge of projects before, but the consulting engineer, Banner in this case, is supposed to run the job. Make sure that the contractor's doing everything he's supposed to do. Well, since this whole project is starting, I should have been here earlier. The wife carries 2 pairs of shoes when it rains and she can't even get out of the house, even going on Union without having mud all over the place. The other thing that we're having troubles with is you've got no silt fence around any of the catch basins around my place. There's one over on the west side of Union, but you could just as well tear that off because that's not gonna stop anything. I just think that Banner has done an awful poor job of running this project. There's, I understand, in the boulevard and what have you, but I had my sprinkler heads marked. And that guy just came in one fell swoop and tore everything out. I mean, it was just like it was a bullseye, I'll show you. And then the sidewalk that I spent $7,000 on they're gonna have to replace that. It's pushed up into my landscaping. They've got dirt in my landscaping. I had the landscaper stop the other day and he says, boy, you got a mess. So I guess I'm saying I expect that to be put back the way it was on this. I understand between the curb and the sidewalk is city property, but anything past on the other side of the sidewalk, they should not be on there. And I pick up construction debris, plugs out of pipes. paper towels, you know, and I know, cause I do this work, you know, you put lube on, you get it, you know. But we usually tuck it down in the trench. We don't just throw them. I must pick up half a dozen of them every couple of days.
Paper towel.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's, you know, these aren't crisis things, but it just gets a little old because, you know, if the wind blows and throws it up against the house, then you've got the lube, the pipe dope and stuff. It's just, the project's just a mess. Anyway,
It'll be nice when it's done.
well, yeah, but I mean, you know, living through this crap, the other contractors that we worked for, you know, there probably were some issues too, but, you know, we hauled a lot of gravel in for driveways and what have you. I don't have, and it doesn't bother me because I can get to Union. Excuse me, but a lot of the driveways never, ever had any gravel on them, you know, to get up in. And if I didn't have four-wheel drive, even some of the crossings, you know, were in pretty poor shape. And I don't know what went on 2 Sundays ago when Steve's Towing had to come up and pull a bus or something out of that. And that's a whole nother ball.
I was there, yeah.
But-
Bus driver thought, you know, the GPS sent him that way.
Yeah.
He thought, well, he looked up the hill, he thought, oh, maybe there's a 10th Street.
Mhm.
Rather than try back it up, he tried going through and it
Sure,
didn't
sure.
work, and there is no 10th Street, so.
But anyway, these are just some of the things that, is there any way that we can clean up Union Avenue? I mean, if it rains, we're gonna have water all over the place. The curb and gutter, you know, have got dirt in them. I mean, dirt.
Yeah, that, Ryan is here and Ryan heard your comments and that, so.
Yeah, we can get them up there, sweep that area.
I don't, sweeping ain't gonna do it. You're gonna have to have a minimum of the skid steer
Yeah.
and then sweep it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, bottom.
okay. All right. But I mean, are we on the same page? All the landscaping they've tore up on my side of the sidewalk is gonna get fixed and not at my expense?
I don't have an answer for you at this point in time, but it is noted, and Ryan is being here, you know, we'll pass that information on.
Yeah, some of it it's gotta be resodded. I mean, it's just, the sidewalk's pushed up and furled up, you know, and I got all the sprinklers shut off, so on that side, so I mean, it's dead. There's no coming back. So,
So,
okay, thanks
all
for your,
right, well, thank you.
appreciate it.
So. All right, and then under announcements and that, our next commission meeting will be Monday, October 16th, 2023 at 5:30 PM. And then I'm also gonna make an announcement and that this last week in that state of South Dakota was up here talking about what they're going to be doing at the intersection of 457th and Highway 34. And if there's anyone that's interested in seeing that, I did bring their maps. And I will address that when the meeting is over, and that is not a part of our meeting. So, with that, do we have a motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Thank you, everyone.